So Dr. G coming at you with a very short StatCrunch video to help you when you need a 99% prediction interval. I got this from a student and I've been doing this several times. I think this is probably the best way to do it, and it's not very hard, okay? So when I need to do a 99% prediction interval, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my StatCrunch. So here I've pasted it. You've already done your regression, right? You've gone to regression, multiple linear. You've actually gone ahead and put the project in and the interpersonal stress and mood, right? Because that's what it wants. It wants the interpersonal stress and mood to predict the individual project score, okay? So that's my regression equation. So I'm going to do that. Now, I click on compute, I get all this fun stuff. I see that I've got 6 degrees of freedom for my t-stats. I've got 3 degrees of freedom for my f-stat and 6 degrees of freedom in my error. This is going to become really important later on. But there's nothing in here about a prediction interval. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to options and edit, and I scroll down, and I look, and there's a 95% interval for individual prediction. There's no 99%. I'm like, well, what am I going to do for this? Okay, so here's the best way that I have found after doing it 4 different ways. I'm going to click on predicted, and then I'm going to click on the standard error for the individual prediction so that they're both selected. And I'm going to go ahead and click on compute. Now, once I do that, right, I'm going to have 2 lines, 2 new columns, one for predicted and one for standard error. The predictions change based on the inputs. The standard error actually changes based on the inputs, okay? So I've got more error toward the beginning for these values over here, and maybe some less in the middle over here, maybe less in the middle when the values are when these values are closer together, right? Perfect. Okay, cool. So how do I now get the prediction interval? Well, that's a great question, right? Now, we know that there's a t-distribution underlying this, and there are 6 degrees of freedom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my stat calculator. I'm going to go to t. I'm going to click on between, and I'm going to change this to 6, and I'm going to put in my 99% over here. So what you can see is that the test statistic, the lower end is a negative 3.740. The upper end is a positive 3.7074, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, all right? And this is going to become my t-stat, and I'm going to paste it in. In fact, I'm going to paste it all the way down, okay? So now I have my mean, my prediction value. I have my t-stat, and now I can multiply that t-stat by the standard error. So now I'm going to be able to actually create an entire table. I'm going to go over to compute, expression, and I'm going to go ahead and build this up. For all confidence intervals, we have to have a middle. Here, the middle is my predicted value. So I'm going to add that column, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract the t-stat. This is going to give me the lower value of my prediction interval. And then I'm going to multiply that by the standard error for each of the individual inputs, okay? And I click on OK. Now, what is this? This is the lower 99% prediction interval. So I'm going to click on compute, and now I have all of the lower 99% for my prediction intervals. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to go to compute expression, but now instead of a subtraction, I'm going to do an addition, and that's going to give me the upper 99% prediction interval value. And now I click on compute. And so there it is. So here's my lower 99% and here's my upper 99%. Really nice, right? So if I go back and I look at this particular problem, it wanted it for 29, 18, and 37. If we look, 29, 18, and 37 is row 4. And if I look to 2 decimal places, 73.44, 73.44, and 102 point to 2 decimal places, 39, so 10239, and there's the 10239. So that's the correct answer for that 99% prediction interval. If you like this video and it helps you understand how to do StatCrunch and prediction intervals, that makes me happy.